Now, the centralized fault display system is the method that the Airbus has in receiving, recording, categorizing in terms of severity, and storing, displaying, and printing defects. Now, for those of you that have done other courses and other chapters, you might know that on a more modern aircraft, there is a specific chapter for that. Chapter 45 is for the central maintenance system. But this aircraft, because it was designed 45 years ago, Chapter 45 didn't even exist. There was no such thing as a centralized maintenance system. The first inkling of a centralized maintenance system was this aircraft here through a box, a centralized fault display and interface unit. And that's exactly what it does. It takes all the defects, okay, from the boxes. This is the avionics bay. This is A320, by the way, in the A320, all these black boxes, takes all the information and stores it, categorizes the faults in terms of severity, passes them to other computers that will make immediate displays, for example, if they're of that severity, or will show other faults after landing so as not to trouble the pilot. They record the defects, they print them after landing, etc., all through this one box here. Okay, so this box will be able to display on the ECAM the faults, and we use the MCDUs. Each pilot has one. Usually the engineer uses the MCDUs for maintenance purposes to interrogate the centralized fault display interface unit for a post-flight report, or to interrogate a specific system through the system report test, which we'll see in a minute. In fact, it's the next page. Here we are. So that MCDU, okay, has different functions, has the flight management guidance computer system, has the ATSU, air traffic and satellites, and surveillance unit, the AIDS, and the CFDS. You remember AIDS, the alpha call-ups, and the CFDS, which is the centralized fault display system. And if we press that chevron there, it will take us to, what do you want to look at? In flight, this is in flight only. So you can see pilots are very limited in what they can retrieve, because we don't want the pilots to be doing maintenance in flight. So we limit the options that they can get in flight, but on the ground, look what I can get. I can see the last leg report, all the flight faults from the last leg ECAM report, the previous legs report, the avionics status, and a system report test. All right. The system report test is what gives us access to individual systems. Okay, if we're testing a system which was faulty on this post-flight report. This post-flight report is a printout, and we said it's on a 4-inch wide toilet paper sort of width roll, which we can either print out willfully at any given time, or it can be preset to print automatically after specific flight phases, depending on what the airline has set in its filters. Apart from being able to call up and integrate and interrogate all these defects through the post-flight report, there is also the so-called Airman option, which is now, if anybody is current on the A320 or Airbus stuff, it's called the Skywise health management system. I can actually, not only can I store the faults and categorize them and save them after landing, I can also send them live, okay, to my maintenance control, and they can actually monitor the defects as they happen, because the aircraft will send them to the maintenance control. Maintenance control can then be ready to be able to tell the station where the aircraft is going to. Oh, look, this aircraft is coming with this defect. You're going to need this part. You're going to need 3 people, and you're going to need some stands and this and this and this, and prepare them to perform the maintenance before the aircraft even arrives. Okay, this is 45 years ago, this design. Okay, so you can imagine the aircraft lands, the engineer goes up in the cockpit, says, "Oh, pilot captain, you've got a problem with your landing gear." It's like, how did you know that? Ah, we know these things because the system has already transmitted the fault to the ground, which is waiting and monitoring for it. Okay, so this Airman, which is an option that Airbus provides, depending on the size of your fleet. You know, it's an expensive thing, and if you're an airline with 2 aircraft, you're not going to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to have this system, because one person can monitor all of this. But if you've got a fleet of 50, 60, 100 A320s, then you're going to need some help. This is a very, very good for planning the work when the aircraft terminates at night, because you are getting the faults live, and you'll be given a heads up to be able to plan for these defects. And this is how it happens. Okay, so the system records an event. It sends the event to the CFDS. Okay, the CFDS can then be retrieved through the MCDU. The post-flight report can then, or the interrogation can be performed through the MCDU. All right. The aircraft event also sends an immediate warning, which provides the cockpit effects. Cockpit effects are, what did the pilot actually see? Oh, I saw a red light, I saw an amber fault light, and I saw an indication. Okay, so the job is basically, pilot has an event, he records it in the tech log, but it's also sent automatically through the so-called eLog nowadays. Yeah, through systems, through ACARs. It's transmitted to the ground station, to the maintenance watch, and maintenance watch already know about it before the aircraft has even landed. Now the eLogbook is getting more and more prevalent. Okay, some airlines only fly with eLogs. Okay, the hardest part is to transition it from a paper log to an eLog. But with an eLog, once you have it, you can then combine a cabin log to a tech log to a flight log, all on one, because it's all electronic and it's all instant and gets transmitted, and then it can stop a flight if, for example, there is a CRS or the lack of the CRS. If there hasn't been a certificate of release into service by an engineer, then you can't close the logbook, and if the logbook can't be closed, the pilot can't open the flight, and if the pilot can't open the flight, he can't put in his navigation data, and if he can't put in his navigation data, he can't basically take off. So it's a very good safety system that will prevent anything being untoward, but it all has to be working. You'll have to have internet. You'll have to have good internet so that it's connected. When the internet drops out or when it's not working, then you have to revert back to the paper log, and it's a bit of a headache. So a lot of people started to say, oh, we're going to have an eLogbook in 1 year's time. We're going to have an eLogbook.